So before ConfidentCalmKids, we had a household that was completely centred around Mark and his needs. Even though we have a younger daughter, her whole dynamic would have centred around it as well. No matter where we would have attended, whatever we would have done, we had to pre-design what was happening. And I suppose there's no element of relaxing as a family. You're always on point. You're always watching for what's going to come next, or trying to anticipate what happens. And it's, I suppose, you can't switch off as a family. There's no downtime at all. Mark would have a very high flash point for temper. He would have had issues of self-harming, very frustrated, frustrated with himself, frustrated if things didn't get his own way, singular thought, that he would have to set the agenda for every scenario. He would, again, back to his frustration, he would need an awful lot of stimulation to calm him down. He would need deep pressure at a very high level, and he would be very high sensory seeking, so he would hide in tight corners. The more compact the better, but at random times of the night. It would happen during the day, it could happen at night. At 4 a.m, we could find him in a cupboard or under the sink, or so, anywhere that you wouldn't expect. His concentration levels wouldn't have been good unless he was completely engaged and had initiated the task. He wouldn't be able to stay on task. He'd have to have permanent prompting all the time for tasks. So my trusted GP had heard of ConfidentCalmKids and had advised me about the prospect of trying it out. And because I trust him, I said, well, look, I'll meet Michael and I'll see what I think. So I spoke with Michael and met with him, and to be honest, the reason that I allowed Mark to take part in the ConfidentCalmKids programme was after meeting Michael. There was one sentence that Michael said on our first meeting, and he reminded me that while it's a great programme, it's not a cure to autism. And the minute I heard that, I thought, okay, this is a guy I can trust, because there is no cure for autism, as normal people realise. If someone is peddling something like that, I just wouldn't entertain it. So once I met Michael face to face, I trusted him, and I thought, okay, I'll let you try your magic on my child and see how I go. So that was it, yeah. So as Mark progressed through the ConfidentCalmKids programme, we saw a much more relaxed child. He was just very calm at home, and it just started very slowly. He was sleeping well prior to that, but I felt he was getting a better quality sleep. He was starting to chat more. He was in school. We noticed that he was just more receptive to his instructions. So it seemed to be more subtle, but when you're living with autism and you're living with the whole scenario, these seemingly subtle things make a really big change to a household, and they really do feel dramatic to us, while maybe someone else mightn't think that they're so significant. And it's just the continued calmness, and the fact that Mark started chatting back, telling me how he was feeling, telling me what he was thinking, explaining himself, explaining his thoughts on random items that interested him. These kind of things, you would nearly have to have hours sitting down with him before you get the same information. So we felt those kind of things were quite visible very early on with him. I'd say even we saw an improvement after the first session down here. Yeah. So I think the three most important benefits that he's found that with Mark and that have stayed with Mark since, he's certainly a calmer child. He's not got as high a flashpoint. We still do have episodes that's part of it. But he's quicker to calm down. If something starts off, he'll calm. His thought process is clearer. He's able to verbalise to us what he would like, what he wants, or what he hopes, or even just what he's thinking on a day. They'd be the biggest ones. Yeah, they'd be the three biggest ones. I think the thought process, the communication, and the just calmness in general. So I think for Mark, from day-to-day life, since starting the Confident Calm Kids and working through the whole programme, he just seems to be happier in himself, and he has a great sense of achievement with everything he's doing. His self-confidence is certainly higher. Now, I know it's a compliment to, work with school, work with home, and work with Michael, that we've all helped him to get to this point. But I think he has a better quality and understanding of his own self, and he's certainly a much happier child. Or he certainly appears to us at home to be a much happier child. Since completing the programme, the whole family, it's certainly a more relaxed household. The days out, anything that we do together, that it's a little bit more fun-filled. I don't think I'll ever take my finger off the pulse and relax completely. I don't think I'm that confident in myself yet to be able to completely switch off. But I think just as a family, because communication especially has improved with Mark, and his receptive ability to hear us and hear our instructions has improved, it's a clear indication that the whole family dynamic is a little bit more relaxed, and the household is certainly calmer. So if you're thinking of trying the Confident Calm Kids programme with Michael, I suppose the first thing I'd say is every system doesn't suit every person, but I would think it is worth a try. I'm really glad that we gave it a try. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to bring Mark back for any sessions. If I was asked directly, would I bring a family member, I would bring them. I would trust Michael, I would trust his judgment, and I think there's a realism that while not every therapy suits every person, there's a realistic, honest approach, and that's really as much as I can say, that I would trust Michael and I would trust his judgment. So finally, I just wanted to thank Michael for the opportunity to try a new therapy with Mark, and for being so open with Mark and his little quirks and his little ways of liking things and not liking things, and starting the video exactly where it stopped the last time, and being really, really patient with him, because it certainly made an improvement to our house. It certainly helped Mark as a person, and it has helped me gain a little bit more confidence in my own judgment as a mum, that my faith in Michael was certainly well placed, and I'm very happy, and thank you very much.